All right, Madam Chair, I think we'll go through the agenda real quick and then we'll take a little break and get started at 6. So on tonight's agenda, there is a time extension that is item A. That is not a public hearing. It does require a motion and action by the commission, but you won't need to open it up for a public testimony or anything.
Okay.
Item number 1, we are anticipating to briefly hear that one.
Okay.
Item number 2, we are anticipating to briefly hear as well.
Okay.
That holds for item number 3. We will hear it. And then item number 4 was a deferral, and there's a memo in your packet, and that would be to next month's hearing.
All right. And do we need a motion for the deferral also?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And that's March 27th. Will be next month's hearing.
Okay.
So pretty straightforward. And so if you don't have any questions, we'll get started here in about 13 minutes.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, Madam Chair, we can go ahead and get started.
Great.
Good evening and welcome to the Boise City Historic Preservation Commission public hearing. A few things to start out with for tonight's proceedings. Everyone from the public entering the hearing virtually has been automatically muted and cannot speak. As the item you're interested in comes up for discussion, you will be called upon and unmuted. There's a chat function in Zoom. This is not part of the public record and should only be used if there is technical difficulties that arise. Our procedures for public hearings begin with a presentation from the planning team. Then we'll go to the applicant and then the representative of the Registered Neighborhood Association, followed by questions from the commission. After that, we will proceed to the public testimony, starting with those who are in person, then those who signed up on the sign-up sheet in advance, and then anyone else who raises their hand, either in person or virtually. If you're attending through your telephone, you can type in *9 to raise your hand. Each member of the public is allowed up to 3 minutes for testimony. We are strict with this time as it is limited in our code. Finally, the applicant is allowed 5 minutes for rebuttal, after which the hearing will be closed and the commission will deliberate and render a decision. And with that, Madam Chair, you have the floor.
Thank you, Josh. We are a citizen volunteer appointed by the mayor and approved by City Council. We make final decisions on certificate of appropriateness applications. Any decisions made tonight may be appealed to the City Council, provided that the appeal is filed within 10 days of this hearing. In order to file an appeal, you must have given written or oral testimony at tonight's meeting. So that's why it's important to give your name and address when you are testifying tonight. We utilize a consent agenda. This means that if the applicant agrees with the staff report, and if there's no public opposition, the item will be placed on the consent agenda. All items that are placed on the consent agenda are approved with one motion without further public comment. For items not on the consent agenda, we will hold a full public hearing in order just detailed a few minutes ago with staff, applicant, neighborhood association, and then the public testimony. Thank you all for attending tonight. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Pape. Here. Koski. Maroney.
Here.
Montoto.
Here.
Malloy.
Here.
Kintai. Otter.
Here.
Parks.
Here.
6 present, 2 absent.
Thank you. We do not have any items for the consent agenda tonight. However, we have a couple of items that we need motions for before we get to the hearing. The first is item A, DRH 21-00215, Amy Allgaier Architects, asking for a time extension on 1808 North 11th Street. Request for a 2-year time extension to construct a new single-family residence on property in an R-1CH single-family residential with historic overlay zone. Do I hear a motion?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Montoto.
I move to approve the time extension for DRH 21-00215.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Commissioner Otter, clerk, please call the roll.
Pape.
Aye.
Maroney.
Aye.
Montoto.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Otter.
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
All in favor, motion carries.
Thank you. The second item that I need a motion for is item number 4, DRH 23-00021, Amy Allgaier Architects, 1115 North 10th Street, a certificate of appropriateness to alter the character defining facade and reconstruct the front porch of an existing residence on property in an R2 HD medium density residential with historic overlay zone. Is anybody here wishing to testify on this tonight? Anybody online? Nope. Okay, hearing none, let's get a motion to defer this to the March 27th meeting.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Montoto.
I move to defer item DRH 23-00021 to the March 27th, 2023 hearing.
Thank you. Do I hear a second? I'll second. Thank you, Commissioner Otter. Clerk, please call the roll.
Aye. Maroni,
Aye.
Montoto,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Otter,
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
All in favor, motion carries.
Thank you. And that brings us to our first item on the agenda tonight, DRH 23-00008, Beth Lassen Design Company, 1620 North Harrison Boulevard, certificate of appropriateness to construct an accessory dwelling unit above an existing detached garage on property in an R-1CH, single-family residential with historic overlay zone. Staff, can we please have the report?
Yes, I'm sharing screen now. Can everybody see it?
Yes, thank you, Richard.
Very good. This is a request to approve of approval to construct an accessory dwelling unit above an existing attached garage. It is located in the north end, and it is considered a non-contributing building. Here's the site plan aerial to give you an idea of its location. This is a photo of the existing house. This house was built in the 1990s, not 1990s. So it's a recent construction, as is the garage to the rear. The proposal is to add, and here's the site plan, just to give you a general sense of the location of everything. And the application is to add an ADU. So here's the floor plan showing what it will look like. And here's the elevations, top left showing the existing, a sketch form below it of the proposed, and then detailed elevation drawings to give you a sense of its appearance. This structure is going to be 1.5 stories in height, with a height at the peak of 26 feet 10. The existing residence is 2 stories and the height is 29.6. Therefore, the height difference is lower. It's 2 feet 8 inches below the height of the primary residence. It's uses, here's today's architectural term, it uses jerkin head roofs and dormers to mimic the existing residence roof forms, and an exterior stairway to the second floor. It features stucco siding, so it is congruous with the house as built, and the garage as it currently exists. Windows will be appropriate aluminum clad wood. And there's, because it's just sitting upon an existing building on a site, the entire lot coverage is 23% and will remain. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the staff before we move on to the applicant? All right, hearing none, is the applicant here to testify tonight? Hi, if you can step up to the microphone and give your name and address.
Good evening, Commissioners. Beth Lassen, 2609 Harrison Hills. I guess honestly, I thought this might be on consent because it's a recommended approval and we agree with all the conditions. So I guess I'm here to stand for questions if there's something specific you'd like an answer to.
Does anybody have any questions for the applicant? All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Beth.
You're welcome.
Hearing none, is there anyone representing the neighborhood association here tonight? If you would like to step up, state your name and address.
Yeah. Hi, good evening. Thank you, Madam Chair. Nice to be here in person with all of you tonight. Kate Penwood, 1116 North 12th Street. We support staff's recommendation. We were just hoping that you would be willing to, we know this project is going to require a couple of variances. We were just hoping that you might add those to the conditions of approval. We've seen it done in the past, and we think it just serves the city and the applicant to be really explicit with the requirements. And then I appreciate the willingness to incorporate downshield lighting and permeable paving.
All right, thank you. Any questions for the neighborhood association? Hearing none, we will move on to the public portion. I'm going to move to the sign-up sheet. I have a Laura Colson here. Laura, would you like to step up and testify?
I just signed in because I thought I was supposed to be
Oh.
present here. I don't need to speak. Beth is my designer.
Okay, great. Thank you. Is there anybody who's not on the sign-up sheet here tonight that's wishing to testify? Please step up to the microphone, state your name and address. And you have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Ian Bott. I live on 2216 North Harrison Boulevard, apartment 208. I'm here to testify because I'm highly in favor of this as somebody who has chronic pain, who has known a lot of people who have need access, including some people that I know pretty well. I feel like it's important that buildings are ADA compliant, and I feel like in order to make sure that the people have the most access to what they need to do for the quality of life, I feel like we should approve this type of setting. And I feel like as a person in the neighborhood of the North End, I'm highly appreciative of all the stuff that they've tried to do to make the buildings more accessible. And I think that every home should have a way for people to make sure that they're able to do the best job they can to their ability. So I'm highly in favor of this, and I hope that regardless of what this committee thinks, I think that we should be able to keep the people's understanding of what their best life should be in practice. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Ian. Is there anybody else here wishing to testify? Anybody online? No? All right, hearing none. There, you can step back up and give your rebuttal. Wave it. Perfect. Thank you, Beth. With that, we'll close the hearing and render a decision. Do I hear discussion or a motion on this item?
I guess I'll make a motion to approve it. Make a motion to approve DRH 23-00008 as recommended by staff.
Thank you, Commissioner Otter. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Parks. Clerk, please call roll.
Pape. Aye. Maroney.
Aye.
Montoto.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Otter.
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
All in favor, motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 2, DRH 23-00005. Ken Reed, 1514 West Franklin Street, certificate of appropriateness to renovate and combine 2 existing garages to create an accessory dwelling unit and a property on a R3HD CD multifamily residential with historic and conservation district overlay zone. Staff, can we have the report, please? Richard, it looks like you're muted.
I'm trying to get it to come up to the full screen. There we go. Just got to let something slide away. All right. This is a request to add a rear addition to the house, remove a trellis, which you'll see in a moment, at the front, and add an awning over the front door, as well as renovating and combining 2 existing garages to create an accessory dwelling unit. This is in Hayes Street Historic District, and it is a contributing building. Here's a site plan to give you an idea of its location. These are the 2 most important elevation photos to look at. That's the rear elevation where the addition will be added, and the front elevation where the extant trellis and mini trellis over the door will be removed and replaced with an improved design. This is the 2 existing garages with airspace in between and some sort of how trusses connecting the 2 together. And here's a site plan of the existing showing the separation of those 2 garages and the deck that will be removed and replaced with the rear addition, as well as showing the trellis at the front. The proposed plans are here to give you an idea of what's going to happen on the lower and upper floor and a general idea of the site. Here are the elevations showing the addition and the garage with the adjacent ADU that's integrating, the two garages that are integrating together to be a garage and an adjacent ADU. This addition is 2 stories at the rear of the existing 1.5 story, though it is a full 2-story in addition, giving the depth and location of the rear and its location at the rear of the property. Staff deems that this is acceptable as it's slightly offset from the existing residence. It's going to be clad with board and batten, which is a material as seen on the garage and typically seen in the historic district, especially used to differentiate new construction from old. And the roof height will be the same as the peak of the primary residence. As far as the ADU goes, since the proposed height is going to be 1 story at 13 feet 6, and the existing residence is a 1.5 story, as stated before, is 24. This is substantially lower, so there's no negative impact on the height of that. It's using the existing design of the garage. The board and batten is also seen on the addition. And it's below 1,000 square feet and 22 in height, so it does comply with the full setback requirements. With that, staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Richard. Do we have any questions for staff before we move on to the applicant? All right, hearing none. Is the applicant present tonight? You'd like to step up and state your name and address. You have 20 minutes.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. My name is Ken Reed. I live at 2415 Compass Drive, Boise, Idaho. I think if you read through the letter of intent, that this house that was converted into something interesting as far as a modern loft kind of lacked some privacy on the indoor spaces. There was just basically a loft upstairs. And so my client desired to create a bedroom off the bathroom in the back. I did that by, as Richard said, using differentiating materials. And I talked to Josh and Richard when I began this project, and I did recognize that if we did any addition of an ADU and the house, we'd probably go over the 35%. But I did an analysis on the block, and more than half the properties are over 35%. The adjacent property to the east is in the high 40s. Across the street is a 5-story apartment complex, which has almost 100% lot coverage. But we're hoping to create a space in the back and make it feel like a courtyard in the back. Take the 2 roof lines that are sort of an anomaly on the back and combine the buildings into 1 roof line, and then create an ADU and a minimum 2-car garage space. We're also going to take the trellis off the front, which I think is dated from the 70s. And my client said that was an architect's office back in the 70s. So that trellis will come off. And something that I sent Richard a couple of pictures of what we would like to build, which is basically the identical awning sort of construction on the ice houses that are on the opposite street. And so that would kind of hopefully tie these historic buildings together as a cohesive design and style. So with that, if you have any questions, I'd stand for any of those.
Madam Chair, I do have a question. And Ken, I'm not sure if this is better for you or for Richard. I guess I'll ask both of you. If you were to remove that 2% lot coverage to bring it to that 35%, what kind of footprint are we looking at?
I did a calculation, Commissioner Montoto. The distance, I'd have to only be able to add, I'd have to make a choice, I think. We would have to either eliminate the ADU and do that addition on the back, or the addition on the back could only extend about 6 feet. So that really doesn't make a bedroom upstairs or any kind of living space downstairs. So there's a dilemma there that I can't really do both.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hearing none, is there anyone representing the neighborhood association here? Can come forward and state your name and address.
Very tall. Thank you, Kate Henwood, 1116 North 12th Street. Appreciate the applicant and Commissioner Montoto bringing up the lot coverage issue. We just wanted to acknowledge it too. Typically, we feel really strongly about respecting that 35% limit. But I guess would say also don't love our neighbors are doing it, so we want to do it too. But in this instance, I would say we're more receptive to it, given that it is a more dense kind of transitional part of the neighborhood. So just wanted to acknowledge it and make sure that it was on everyone's radar that it does exceed that 35%. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone here? I don't have anybody signed up. Is there anybody here wishing to testify on this project? Looks like nobody in person. Anyone online? No? All right. We have time for the rebuttal by the applicant. If you'd like to step forward again and state your name and address.
Yes, Commissioner Kenneth Reed, 2415 Compass Drive. Yeah, I did talk with Josh and Richard at the very beginning of this commission when I was working with the client, and I told him that we'd probably if we did go over, he said, yeah, we could consider it because it is a different zone. It's half a block away from Albertsons. It's in a very dense area. There's commercial buildings on either end of the block and higher density everywhere. So I would agree. I wouldn't want to go over 35% if we were in a very residential area of the north end or the east end where you've got nothing but houses. But this is a very transitional place in Boise. And so I think it's really not discernible that it's 2% over. The addition is completely on the back of the property. And I stand for any other questions.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Ken before he sits down? All right, hearing none. We will close the hearing and render a decision. Do I have a motion or any discussion on this project?
Madam Chair, I guess I'll start with my thoughts. And I think I would like to make a motion, but I'll share my thoughts first. First of all, I think this is a very well planned design, and I applaud Mr. Reed for his work. The reason I asked about that 2% lot coverage is because typically I am very much a stickler for that. I was on the commission when we decided to go up to 35% from 30, and we did it to allow for these, 2% here, 3% there, 1% here. But that the expectation that continues to increase is not a precedent I want to see happen. However, going through staff's recommended site requirements and conditions and seeing that staff is okay with this 2% given the zone and the location of the site, I would be okay with that 2% increase given that also it's on the back of the site. So that being said, I would like to make a motion to approve DRH 23-00005 per staff's recommended conditions of approval.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Great. Clerk, can you please call roll?
Pape.
Aye.
Maroney.
Aye.
Montoto.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Otter.
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
All in favor, motion carries.
Thank you. With that, we'll be moving to item number 3 on the agenda, DRH 22-00432. Mike Maxfield, this was deferred from the January 30th meeting. It's 1112 North 22nd Street, certificate of appropriateness to construct a second-story addition on an existing non-contributing single-story residence and a second-story addition on an existing single-story detached garage on property in an R-1CH single-family residential with historic overlay zone. Staff, can we please have the report?
Yes. This is yay technology. Boom. This is a request to approve to construct a second-story addition on an existing single-story detached garage. It's in the expanded north end, and it's a non-contributing structure. Here's the map to give an idea of its location. This is an existing home. As we know, this is something that came in the previous month's commission and was deferred, and they have come in with a ADU on the garage portion now, and they will continue to work with staff to flesh out an addition to the primary residence at a future date. So all we're considering now at this meeting is the ADU over the garage. Here's an idea of the rear elevation of the house. Multiple photographs of the existing garage, adjacent properties to give a sense of the space. Where is it located? And here's the site plan now, just showing the outlines as they exist, as it's an addition on top of an existing building. Here's the floor plan. I'm sorry, I keep using the word ADU. This is to be used as an office space. It is not an ADU over a garage. I've been saying that too many times. So this is the plan showing the office spaces that will be above. And here are the elevations showing how the office above the garage will look. It is pretty much the same as it was in previous iterations, although the drawing kind of shows a vertical line indicating that the roof material is metal. It will be, a shingle appearance, asphalt shingle. This will be 2 stories in height with a peak at 19.9. The existing residence is got a height currently of 22 feet to the peak, so therefore it is under. It utilizes the design of the garage to a rather large degree, and the structure is below 1,000 square feet and under 22 in height, so all full setback requirements are met with that. We recommend approval for this garage over this office over an existing garage.
Thank you, Richard. Do we have any questions for staff? All right, hearing none, the applicant can step forward, state your name and address.
Mike Maxfield, 1112 North 22nd Street, Boise. So hopefully this one will be slightly shorter than the last, as I think everyone but one committee member was present. We didn't originally go into this wanting to do just the garage at this time. We originally submitted this back in November. I think we went through at the last meeting how my wife's office is in the living room, mine's in the basement. It's kind of, especially after kind of waiting since November, kind of getting desperate to get that fixed. So we're trying to get that done this year. We are still working on something that will be viable for us for the main house. I think that's basically it about the garage, since there were no negative feedback items about the garage, and Nina helpfully pointed out that it was below this height of the main house, which I wasn't aware of at the time. We'd like to go forward with this. I did have one comment just to make respectfully, and I actually don't really think this applies so much to our future projects, but as a neighbor in the North End, when I walk around and see new construction, it's just kind of sad. There's so many nice houses, and for non-contributing structures, at least, it is so easy, and I'll emphasize easy and cheaper to tear it down. And that's the route so many people take. And I was really disappointed in what we felt wasn't I know there's a lot of speaking to it, but in constructing something for someone in our situation where they need more space and they're trying really hard to keep the existing facade so that when someone walks by, it looks like the existing house. I hope you guys can find a way to prioritize those types of projects in the future. It's just sad to see new construction. And I think, we're kind of feeling like our hands are tied with some of that, ending up with a solution that might not look the same, which sucks as far as I'm concerned. And then, of course, we talked in detail about the alternative energy and efficiency things. I think the city has a lot to figure out for what to do there. It is a lot more expensive and a lot more effort to do those things. And if we don't find a way to prioritize it, it's already hard enough. People aren't going to do it. So thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have questions for the applicant?
Madam Chair, not so much a question, more a comment. Thank you so much, Mr. Maxfield, for your willingness to come back. I know that I felt really strongly at the last hearing about making sure that we get this right, because I think keeping neighbors like you in the neighborhood who want to put the time, energy, and effort into keeping their house as close to what it was is exactly how we preserve our districts, as opposed to, so many non-contributing houses that we lose every single month. So I just very much appreciate you and your wives' energy and effort to be here tonight. And that's not really a question, but I just felt called to say it. So thank you.
Any questions or other comments? Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming back. Hope to see your project again. All right. Anybody here in the audience? I don't have anybody signed up, but is there any members of the public wishing to testify? Oh, I'm sorry. Is there where are we? Is there a neighborhood association representative here that would like to testify? Thank you. Step up and your name and address.
Kate Henwood, 1116 North 12th Street. Just one to say that we're happy to be able to support staff's recommendation for this project and happy that this family can move forward with at least one part of their project now and hopefully can move forward with the rest of it before too long. And then in a comment that should surprise no one, we would recommend permeable paving and downshield lighting, especially because there will be a new hardscape for this project. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Now I don't have anybody signed up on my sheet. Is there anybody in the audience wishing to testify on behalf of this project? Anybody online? All right. Applicant, if you'd like to come up and speak again, you can. No? Okay. With that, we'll close the hearing and we will make a decision. Do I hear any motions or discussion?
I can make a motion for approval. So I move to approve DRH 22-00432 based on the staff recommendations and findings within the staff report with the addition of permeable paving and down lighting.
Right. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Montoto. Please call the roll.
Pape,
Aye.
Maroney,
Aye.
Montoto.
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Otter,
Aye.
Parks.
Aye.
All in favor, motion carries.
Thank you. That concludes our meeting for this evening.
Madam Chair, just sorry, could we do the minutes? I think we missed the minutes at
Oh.
the beginning of the meeting.
Excellent. Yes, let's do the minutes.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Montoto.
I move to approve the minutes from the January 30th, 2023 meeting.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Thank you. Commissioner Malloy, can we call the roll?
Pape,
Aye.
Maroney,
Aye.
Montoto,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Otter,
Abstain.
Parks.
Aye.
All in favor, motion carries.
Thank you. That really does conclude our meeting for this evening.